I'm going to get around to that. Well, today
Good morning, New Mexico. Jennifer and Richard in from Jericho Nursery. Said to Jennifer this morning, looks like March and May got it backwards, and April's confused. This is where we belong. This is where we should be. We shouldn't have been 90 degrees in March. In fact, we broke every record there'd ever been for being that warm by, I think it was 8 degrees. 82 was the high. So we saw 90. We saw 89 a couple of days. In fact, just recently. And now we're back to what I would consider March
More
weather.
seasonable.
Yeah, in the 70s, a few days in the 60s. What I've read is that the chances of precipitation are better for the New Mexico area, kind of the Southwest, for the next few weeks. So looks like Wednesday we get some good cloud cover, possible chance of rain. When anything comes up on my app that says percentage, there's a chance.
Right.
So
right.
Jennifer and I in to take gardening questions. We're from Jericho Nursery, right there on Alameda. 101 and 151, just east of 2nd Street. So if you're coming down 2nd, you got to turn right, which I think we miss some traffic on weekdays when people are coming home down Alameda. We're east of 2nd Street on the railroad tracks. Literally, you can watch the train go by. Great vision of the mountains where we have
a killer view of the mountains.
View is a better word. It's just could be a tea garden, could be a place where you just hang. And we find this time of year that people walk through the gates, and the decompression is amazing to watch. People walk into the bedding house, even yesterday with the wind blowing. They're like, you can just hear them, you see them, and we give away some flowers once in a while to make people happy, and that always seems to bring some joy. And the gal that does our social media, Chantel, has hooked us up with a bunch of food stuff.
Yeah.
So you should come check that out.
The Big Jim Farm stuff.
Yeah. Looked like this morning that they're selling some produce already. I don't know where they're getting it, but they've got some tomatoes and stuff. But we're selling their chilies. We're selling, one I want to try is the peach salsa.
Yeah, it's good.
Is it? Peach chili salsa. So we had so much happen in the last few days that my website doesn't really give you a true picture. We had, I don't know, 10 trucks come in on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the place is just morphing every single day. If you haven't been in a while, come check us out, come hang out, especially this weekend, because as April gets here, and the roses get here in a couple of weeks, maybe even next week. I think they're shipping this next week. We have roses already growing that aren't blooming, but this next shipment of roses comes in full bloom, and all the tree roses come in for those. And the nursery stock we got in from, again, Texas, Oklahoma, California, just beautiful. And
local.
And our local stuff, and bedding plants galore. The bedding plant house is packed to the gills. We've moved our tomatoes and vegetables and tomatoes, chilies, and basil into the vegetable area. We were keeping them safe from a frost. I still think there's one out there. But I could be wrong this year.
Maybe.
The forecast looks like we're going to get past the average. Farmer's Almanac says there's a 30% chance. The average for me used to be April 17th, and now it's April 11th, thereabouts. So we're, a couple weeks away from that. And nothing shows anything close to
that cold.
No, not at all. In fact, next weekend we're in the 60s, but the nighttime temperature's in the 50s. So I think it's cloud cover. The number here is 243-3333. If you want to call or text, we're here to answer some gardening questions. We are done with our classes for spring. We'll try and remember to try and bring them back on in June because people really appreciate an education. We'll probably do some structuring changes on how that works out, because I tried something that seemingly affected the crowds.
100%.
Jen's sure that it did. But I'm sure that weather had something to do with it. But anyway, that'll change back to what it used to be. If you're not a frequent Flower Club member, then you should become one. And I say this out loud to Jen because she needs to work with Pam, and we need to send out another letter to the frequent Flower Club members. We send out a weekly blog newsletter, and I want to commend Lou over the last few weeks, even while being out of town. It's become, and Jen mentioned this several months ago, it's become more educational. Yeah, there's a sales pitch to it. There's what's on sale and what's promoting, and we're constantly showing. Like this week, we showed that we got, I forgot the Monrovia stuff. We got pyracantha, we got bamboo, we got pampas grass. But look, we got trumpet vine, we have wisteria. The wisteria is in bloom. I planted one this morning. The trumpet vine's in full leaf. The pampas grass is waist high. The pyracantha looks beautiful. And we've had a hard time getting the pyracantha. We've got both red berry and orange berry pyracantha. Really, really nice looking material.
Oh, the other thing that we have gotten in, which I think is worth mentioning, we have some beautiful agaves of all sizes. Some beautiful whale's tongues, some truncatas, which are the kind of standard artichoke agave. We have some really beautiful red yuccas, some pendulous yuccas, some just really,
those yuccas are nice.
Yeah, really beautiful, very drought tolerant selections as well.
We got a bunch of new prickly pears. The Santa Rita, we got a thornless one. We got one that's got some pink on it. Just need to come by. I mean, everywhere we turn,
there's something
yesterday
pretty.
We got in some Thomasonias. Did you see them? Oh my God, they're beautiful. Beautiful. Big heads, multiple heads, dark green. Really, really nice. Judy, good morning.
Hi, Rick and Jen. A question about morning glories. Can we plant them now, or do we have to wait? Seed or plants?
Are you planning on doing seed, or are you wanting to? I have morning glory starts that'll be coming hopefully in the next, I'm gonna say, week or week and a half.
Oh, okay.
In many colors. There'll be many colors. So I probably should get a acknowledgement that those are coming, but I think that's a pretty strong yes. So would I tell you to go ahead and plant seed right now? Honestly, I don't think it would be a terrible idea. Typically you would wait until after frost. Even if we got a little bit of a frost, I doubt that you'd have them up before a frost would hit. It takes them a little bit.
They seem to be smart because our morning glories and sunflowers, we don't plant. They just reseed. So that seed's up there all winter long.
Okay, we've never had that happen with the morning glories that we've had. They bloom so late in the season, and they're fantastic, but they don't reseed.
Right, yeah. Okay. I did see some 5 gallons available that are very expensive, and for what they were, I was like, I don't know, because the 5 gallons are like 4 foot tall out of the pot. They barely had any leaves on them. So seed is cheap and easy, and I throw down a couple of packets of seed. And then the ones that Jen's getting in are smaller, like probably 4-inch or quart pots. And the multiple colors is really cool. I find that the old-fashioned heavenly blue is the most vigorous in growth, and the other ones are a little slower. But it's cool to have a morning glory that's not that tried and true traditional blue.
All righty.
All right.
Well, we'll try the seeds, and if they don't work, we'll come by and get a plant.
The good thing to do with your seeds are soak them overnight and then plant them.
Or take an emery board to the edge.
Yeah.
Okay.
One or the other.
Okay. All righty. Thanks, you very
Judy.
much.
Appreciate it. Hitting the wrong buttons. Help me out, Bob. There we go. Dennis, good morning. How are you?
I don't know. My wife's not here to tell me.
Oh my!
I've seen the T-shirt. Happy wife, happy life.
Happy house, happy spouse.
There you go.
So it's not one-sided. Happy house, happy spouse. Not just the wife.
Okay. All right. So my question is, I've tried over the last 5 or 6 years to make seeds sprout. I don't care if you soak them on the wet paper towel, put them in the sunshine, bring them out. bring them in at night. If you plant them, I can plant 30 to 40 seeds and maybe get 2 of them will break ground.
What kind of seed are you planting?
Oh, like green beans, peas, cantaloupe. Now I can grow pumpkin vines. I can grow them 30, 40 feet long, but I only get 1 or 2 blossoms on them.
So lack of blooms is usually a phosphate thing. So you want a high phosphorus fertilizer. Bone meal is an organic form of that, though bone meal organic forms tend to be harder for the plant to take up in alkaline soil. So you can buy chemical forms like triple superphosphate or regular phosphorus. We have one called Bloom Max that's a 55%, and it's the one you mix with water. Germination, when you said peas and beans, I would tell you, and we don't have it, I think Alameda Greenhouse has it, get an inoculant, because sometimes they need inoculation for germination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried the greenhouses up here because I heard you talk about that before, but they've never heard of it. They don't have it.
A bean inoculant?
Yeah.
So the other thing that you can use for a bean inoculant, which I do think we might have, is a product called Kangaroots. It's from Fox Farm. It's a liquid, and you can soak your legumes in that, your legume seeds in that. The other thing about, even if you were to just take a small dose of rooting hormone and soak your seed in a tiny little bit of rooting hormone overnight, what you're trying to do is jockey the seed into doing its job, which is to germinate. And your legume seeds tend to be the most fussy. However, I will tell you, in all of my life, I have never used an inoculant and never really had a problem.
But Dennis, and this is going to be critical, and one of my managers said, "Can I give you some corrective criticism?" And I said, "I don't believe in that. I don't believe that criticism is ever corrective, but something's not right in something you're doing, and I hate to be that critical with you. But when you're buying seed, it is tested by departments of ag and has to have like an 80+% germination rate, and it's on the package. Less than 70. So 7 out of 10 seeds should germinate. So something's amiss somewhere. Could be the soil.
I don't know how you make them germinate. I lived for 40 years in a state where the only thing you could grow was, like rhubarb or anything in the ground, like beets or potatoes crops, or anything like that would grow. But anything above ground, you had to have a greenhouse, and those are hideously expensive.
Right.
So, so I moved here. Now, over in another state that shall remain nameless, I had a little like window boxes for your flowers. I put cantaloupe seeds in there. I had vines growing everywhere, and the driveway had a little bit of a slant to it. So I knew when the cantaloupe was ripe because it would fall off the vine and roll down the driveway.
Oh, there you go.
Well, if you can't get your seed to germinate, come down. We'll sell you plants that are already germinated for you. We'll do the work.
Do you have green bean starts?
I will have green bean starts next week. I have pea starts right now that are that are on sale. They need to get into a container or somewhere. They're ready to go. So I have melons and all that kind of stuff. But I do have a bunch of green bean starts coming next week.
Oh, okay, and this is Jericho Nursery?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you guys got walls?
Wall of Waters?
No, walls. The Battle of Jericho, the walls fell
down. No, the walls came down. The walls came down. I have a tattoo on my heart that when the horn's up in the air and I blew the horn, I should have used the horn that was used, the ram's horn. It's just a trumpet, but the walls did come down from Jericho.
Okay.
Thanks, Dennis.
Well, thank you very much for the information.
Appreciate the call. You bet. Taking us to the first break, it's Jennifer and Richard from Jericho Nursery. We are at 243-3333. Thank you for the calls. Line them up for us. We'll be here to answer your gardening questions. That's what we're here for. Houseplants, bedding plants, trees, shrubs, bugs, and the like. Jennifer and Richard from Jericho Nursery right here on News Radio 96.3 KKOB. We'll be right back. Back live in studio, Jennifer and Richard from Jericho Nursery. 505-243-3333 is the number if you got a question. I went to high school with Dennis Baca. Corky's a few years older than me, but I was driving by Baca's trees the other day, and Corky was sitting out front where they leave their free mulch, where they shred the trees and the firewood. And he was looking at a telephone pole that had been removed, and because I found that out. But I got almost to Plant World and turned around and said, yeah, I got to say hi. And what's really cool is, you know, we grew up here, and not just here, but here right there in the valley. And so when I teasingly talk about wanting to be like Bacas when I grew up, we are like Bacas, and similar faiths seem to attract each other, and you shine light of other people's businesses. You know, Bacas Trees talking about you're too busy.
Yeah, and let us do a drive-by.
We'll
and
do it for you.
We'll help you.
Soilutions and Just Sprinklers. Hey, you're wanting to grow food. Well, Just Sprinklers doesn't sell food, nor does Soilutions. They don't sell we do. So Jen was just talking about figuring out how to do some sort of pseudo partnership, you know, or there is this, and Jen's wearing the shirt today. There is this camaraderie of local businesses banding together, standing up against the big boys because we're getting some of the same product. There's a local greenhouse that I really wanted to carry their merchandise, but they're in Costco, and somebody asked us, "You buying stuff from Costco?" I'm like, I can't have that question. Mm-hmm. But I was in one of the grocery stores this weekend, and they had this week. They had stuff we carry. I wouldn't have known. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. The Costco was a little harder because it's so narrow. The selection of what we were getting from that company, it was very obviously the exact same plant, the same pot. But the support of grow local, be successful, lends itself, grow better, to shop local, grow better. Independent garden centers in New Mexico, and we're all united, and we're, you know, so I can say Alameda Greenhouse and Osuna and Plant World
and Reams
and you know, are they all competition? Yeah,
and Agua Fria and Newman's and all the folks up there in Santa Fe.
But we are banded together through an association, Colorado Greenhouse and Nursery Association. New Mexico has a chapter. We're doing advertising on Facebook that says, why is it better to buy local? Well, you're supporting local, and you're supporting people that know the neighborhood, the environment, the soil on the west side, the last frost date in Santa Fe versus the last frost date in Corrales. Courtney from Trees of Corrales put this all together for us because he's on the board. And last week, I think I mentioned this on Terry's show. Last week, 89 degrees in the day and 33 degrees at night. It was a 50-degree swing. And that's where I'm looking for, when are we going to freeze again? Because it will definitely freeze again in the north end of Corrales. It would be shocking if it doesn't. It was, again, 33 degrees last week. So we're nowhere near that. And like I said, for me, it used to be April 17th. Now it's April 11th. Farmer's Almanac says there's a 30% chance of frost this year in mid-April. The time I'm wrong, or this year I could be wrong because I expect another frost. And people are upset or nervous or not nervous or don't care. But I'm brutal about it because I want the shock value. I want the what? I want you going head turning, tilting sideways, looking up like, what the heck are you talking about? I would rather be wrong and you buy some marigolds and geraniums and it not freeze again.
Right.
Or some tomatoes and basil. And me preaching at you like, see you next week when they die, when it freezes and they die. I hope I'm wrong. I secretly hope I'm right. It all dies and you buy more. That's just my fun again.
Right.
But when I'm wrong are the times it doesn't freeze again. And this could be the year.
Yesterday, a couple of ladies were getting some tomatoes and what have you. And they said, are we free and clear? Are we safe? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, if you're not willing to keep an eye on the weather and cover. If it's calling for cold weather, then maybe you should wait to either put them in the ground or just wait to purchase them. And the one lady looks at me and she goes, it's good for your business. She's like, I want to put my hands in the dirt today or this weekend. And she's like, it's on me if it gets cold and I get frostbite on these guys.
Jeff Berry did it here with Basil 3 times. And I watched and I laughed at him the 3rd time. And he's like, you got to love me because I know what could happen. I'm going to do it anyway. So we appreciate that support. And that's why I'm so brutal about it, because I don't want you feeling like, he said it was safe. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
no, I said when, I didn't say if. And if I'm wrong, great. Good for you. You're ahead. I'm not doing Walla Waters anymore. You want to plant a tomato in a Walla Water? Go ahead. You got the time and effort to do that? Jennifer and I tease each other all the time. We own a garden center, for God's sake. I can buy a 5-gallon tomato the end of April that's got tomatoes on it. And yet here I am, the middle of March, out there in the wind and weather, putting up a wall of water to grow a stupid little 6-pack tomato. What? I got better things to do. I got fishing to do. I got places to be and people to see. Because Jim, I got to take this break. Walpo's at the command center, and he'll cut me off. He's told me before. It's Jennifer and Richard from Jericho Nursery. We're at 101 Alameda, just east of 2nd Street. We got to take our midway break at 96.3 News Radio KKOB. We'll be right back. Back live in studio, Jennifer and Richard in for Jericho Nursery. Everything you want to know, all your yard and garden needs, we're here. Jennifer has rightfully said, and we're training a bunch of new people. We have twice as many people now, so half of them are new. Don't guess. We're known for knowledge. I was talking to somebody yesterday, like, read a label. Do not tell somebody to do something that's off label. That's a federal registration thing. Jim, good morning.
Hey, Rick, really enjoy your program.
Thank you,
sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for the call. What can we do for you?
You know, I live in the East Mountains. I'm at about 7,000 feet. I planted a aspen about 10 years ago, and it's doing really well. We want to do a couple more, but I don't want to buy little ones. I wonder, do you stock bigger ones?
I have a 10-gallon that's 3 in a pot, and I'm going to say they're probably 1/2 inch to 3/4. They're really nice
They're
for
very
containerized aspen. They're not huge, but they're really, really nice.
All right, cool. I'm going to come see you.
Good.
Can I ask another question?
Of course, yes.
This aspen that I planted is sending out runners, right?
Good.
So they're coming up and they're 3 foot tall or so in places I don't want them. How difficult is it to transplant those, and how should I go about that?
How far away from the trunk are they? The original?
15 feet.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got plenty of room.
go dig one up and try and dig as much of the root ball. It's attached to the mom. One of the biggest living organisms on the planet are aspen. It's all supposed to be one.
Right.
And in the sea, it's the barrier reef. But you should be able to dig one up, try and get as much root ball as you can. Do not have the soil and the root ball come apart. You want the whole thing to come up as a unit.
Mm-hmm. So, Jim.
Right. So I'll do that, Rick. The
Jim,
next question, I have my own compost, and I'm sure it's really acidic. It's got
Good.
a lot of chicken poop and coffee grounds and all that. Is that too much for these aspen, do you think, if I do that?
If you do it at about a 50-50 ratio max. Mix
50-50.
Mix in the soil that you're planting in and break it up so it's not hot spots, because that chicken manure could be hot.
Yeah. Jim, can I ask,
Right.
can I add a little bit to your digging up of your aspen? You want to water that little sucker very, very, very well so that it's saturated all the way through that root system as best you can, the little sucker. And you actually want to water back away from it towards mom a good 5 feet and actually take as much of that root as you can.
Yeah, I'm doing a well that's probably about 6 or 7 foot in diameter.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And gonna dig a big. So if I go down about 2 feet and I have the 10-gallon container,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then put that in there, and then just pack it with a good mix of. I got good soil at the bottom of my property,
Yep.
good soil and compost I got, and that should give it a good start as long as I keep it good and wet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're going to grow it in a container, I'm going to tell you to grow it for a year before you take it out of the container, unless you're going to ball and burlap it. Because once you put it in a container, it needs to fully root before you transplant it, because transplanting it now a second time is going to be hard on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is buying one that's already established from you. That's 10
Yeah,
gallons.
I got you.
Yeah, then you're good to go. Yeah, those are fully rooted and ready to go.
Okay, sounds good.
All
All
right.
right, guys, I'll get down there first part of next week. And again, I want to say thank you. I appreciate the program.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that compliments. Thanks for the call.
You bet.
Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rick. Good morning, Jennifer. Hey, I just have a follow-up question. I heard you a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about pre-emergence and post-emergence and all that kind of stuff. And you were talking about, I think you mentioned that you had used Roundup, and it didn't totally work because it was too cool, I guess,
Yep.
to apply. Well, my question is like, well, the instructions, I always say to do it on a sunny day, but I just wondered if you do it like when it's real hot, that it would evaporate off the weed.
Nope. It
Or-
absorbs in and
It'll absorb it in, so
if
I don't have to worry about any of that.
no,
'cause
no, you
I was
want
gonna
it.
do the Roundup. Yeah.
In fact, it didn't work because, as I understand it, it causes the weed to accelerate its growth rate beyond the capacity to support it. So it burns it
Oh.
out. So you can see
Okay,
Roundup
gotcha.
in typical Marches make the weed grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now I've tried it 2 or 3 times in March, and I did not get the results I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy come in that was, I got to be careful here, tending to some landscape and paid him and his guys extra to weed our areas. Now it's all coming back, but they pulled and they weed eatered and they cut and they burned, and that did way better than the Roundup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think I ought to wait till later in this, like next month?
Yep. I was going to say, had we stayed warm, I was
Yeah.
ready to start again. In fact, I have a to-do list for the crew, and on it was spray cleanup, which is my former Roundup.
Yeah.
But now that it's going to be in the 60s and 70s for the next 2 weeks, I don't think it's effective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Jen's-
I don't either. Okay.
Jen's
That
favorite
was my
product
question.
is a
I'm
product.
sorry, what?
Jen's favorite product is a product called Chickweed, Oxalis, and Clover Killer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll
Okay.
bet you that would be effective right
yeah,
now.
because that's a
Oh.
2,4-D based product, and it works differently. So I find it to be much more.
We see results on it overnight.
Better results.
Yes, much
Yeah.
much better.
But it only
Do-
does leafy weeds. It doesn't do grassy weeds.
It doesn't do grassy weeds.
I was going to say, and the Roundup seemed to do better on the grassy
Yeah.
weed.
Well, this
That's
Chickweed
funny,
Killer,
but
well, that's the way
so
they
you
work.
just got to play with it every time. Yeah.
It's a monocot versus a dicot. It's the vascular system and how it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate the info, and you guys have a great day. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call.
All right.
505-243-3333 is the number. It's Jennifer and Richard from Jericho Nursery. We're going to take an early break, so we got a little longer on the back side of this. 505-243-3333. Light them up. Usually last break is the one that we get the most phone calls, and we'll take the break early so we have time for them. Again, 505-243-3333. Jennifer and Richard from Jericho Nursery, 96.3 News Radio KKLB. We'll be right back. 505-243-3333. 505-243-3333 is the number. Text isn't working, so call if you have a question for us. If you don't want to be on the air, then Bob can relay the question. But the text line has got some technical difficulties. So we're here to take some questions for about 10 minutes or so and talk about what's going on. If you haven't dethatched, aerated, ready for a pre-emergent and a fertilizer, now would be the time. Now let's just say it's April.
Yeah.
Or the 28th, right? April is Wednesday.
Woo.
Yeah, fly by. And the weather has switched to be really more seasonal because everybody thought, oh my God, we're going to miss spring. Now we're not. We've all seen the memes about 6:30 in the morning, it's winter, and then 11 it's summer, and then fall, and all in one day.
I think that's hilarious.
I was in Just Sprinklers this week. Shout out to John Seaver, who is selling me Soilutions product through his company so that I don't have to drive all the way down there, which is really gracious of him. But you should have seen the sod. He had sod in the store. And I was like, that's not coming from East Mountains. Santa Teresa?
Yeah.
It was green. It was beautiful. Somebody came in yesterday, lives up in the East Mountains, and said, what should I do? And I said, lives at the east side of town. What should I do? I said, if it's dead, you should till it all up, take the chunks out, start over, put Soilutions compost in the ground, till that in 6 to 8 inches, better a foot, and put down new sod. Mm-hmm. Another lady was like, I can't get sod to grow, and she had an event. And I said, well, if you're going to do sod and you want it to look good for the event, I saw sod that looked beautiful. I have mowed sod the day I've laid it. So if you had an event and you wanted your a graduation, a wedding, something like, you could put down sod and have a beautiful sod lawn for the event. If it all died after, who cares? It's a little more of an investment than a petunia, maybe, but Soilutions products, Bacchus trees, Just Sprinklers, just amazing companies, again, local independents that are supporting our communities. My daughter went to high school at Cibola, and we had to go get sponsorships for uniforms, and they were very, very expensive, and they were new every year. They couldn't wear the same one from one year to the next, and that had to do with the girls more than it had to do with the team, but they wanted new uniforms. They were hundreds of dollars. Mm-hmm. So we went, and my daughter was really good at, because I made her do the asking. Like, hey, will you support and sponsor me so that we can get new uniforms? And here's what we found. The big boys had to go through corporate, blah, 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 blah. The little guys supported. Yeah. The local independents. Your tax base is staying here. You're supporting your neighbors. We are employing people that live here, that are buying groceries here, that are paying taxes here. All of that money stays here.
Yeah.
And if you give any consideration or thought to supporting local, that's a couple of the reasons. I like to tease about just getting down to the brutal fact of it. We sell oxygen because we sell trees. But think about it. What a tree does has so much more value than just creating some shade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to say that, we all get kind of comfortable in some of our conveniences, right? I mean, sometimes it's just easier to get your pet food delivered or whatever. And there are places locally that will do that for you if they carry the things that you want and what have you. And that's all fine and dandy, and it has its place. But in terms of how you continue to be a part of and support a community, I think that when you find that there are people here that are really working hard to benefit the community as a whole, I think that's even an easier way to spend money locally.
And, I haven't heard it, but it's playing a lot. You want a safer, healthier, smarter neighborhood, you landscape.
Yeah.
There's documentation about landscaped neighborhoods have less crime. schools that have landscaping, the kids learn better. Hospitals with trees and shrubs and plants around them, people heal faster. It's not just hyperbole crap that we're throwing out there. It's truth. And that's why I tease about we sell oxygen. Think about it, what a tree does to reduce your carbon footprint if that's your thing. But it cools your house. It takes pollution out of the air. You know, we're talking about building machines to do that for us. We have one. It's called a tree. Shawnee, good morning.
Hi. I have a question about black locust trees and stands. I have a whole row of them. I can't get rid of them. I was trying to plant other trees, and nothing will grow except those trees.
Are they big old trees?
They've been there forever.
Yeah, I think you got such a root mass that unless you had somebody come in with a backhoe and excavate the whole thing, you're kind of stuck living with the locust.
Ew.
So can I ask, are you trying to plant other trees near those trees and that's what's failing, or is it everywhere in your yard?
Anywhere near those trees.
Yeah.
I've tried all kinds of different trees, and they just die.
Yeah. I think the unfortunate part is like he said, you know, there's some massive roots that have taken hold in that area. And, you know, imagine if that tree's 30 feet tall, those roots could be comfortably 30 feet across.
Probably 50.
Yeah. So I think that some of the decision needs to be whether you're going to disrupt that root system well enough that you can plant something anywhere near those, or just pick another spot that's kind of far away from where those trees are.
Again, at least 30 feet. So iceberg is the term to use when a root system is being described. My neighbor up in Rio Rancho had a locust, and it was the nice locust. It was a sunburst or a honey locust. But the roots that came up in my yard were black, thorny, ugly, nasty locusts.
Yeah.
Because they're grafted. Yeah. So that root system is vigorous, and its suckers are even more aggressive than the top tree. So it's kind of like elms. Yeah, as much as we're cursing the elms and the pond is turned off right now because it's full of seed, I'm grateful to have the elms in our neighborhood.
Yeah, because if we didn't, we wouldn't have any shade.
Yeah, because because they're older than me, and I'm 62 years old, and people don't believe me. Bacchus didn't believe me. I said those trees have been here longer than I have. And you can see gravity connecting, and the branches are starting to weep. But they need nothing. They're a mess. They get bugs. Right. They get diseases. They don't die, and they provide shade.
Right.
So
I can't kill these things.
Yeah, then it's live with them and plant something way far away.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Glad to be able to be brutally honest like that. Like when it freezes and they die, remember I told you. Somebody said yesterday, hey, so I should upsell this. I should sell them that. And I said, no. That's not who we are. We're not trying to sell you 2.5 gallons of root stimulator for a 4-inch petunia. No. Integrity and what we do in business and being authentic and real and genuine and sincere about what we want. And you to be able to say, I owe Jennifer and Richard some money. Not owe them money out of my pocket, owe them money because they're good to the community. They're good for the neighborhood. They're good in the environment. So I'm going to support them. So that's what we would ask when we're talking about our sponsors and who they are and what they do. We would ask that you support those more than the cost of the product. Because if you're looking for cheap plants and you're coming to me, you're in the wrong place. And that's brutal and blunt and ugly. That's the truth. I'm not cheap. I'm not trying to be cheap. We're not trying to be the cheapest game in town. That's not who we are. We are quality and we are reasonably priced, in my opinion. You are getting what you're paying for. And then to think about what that dollar is doing in your community beyond just putting money in my bank account, paying the payroll, paying the taxes, supporting the local community, supporting the schools, supporting the people that work for us, supporting their families who are supporting and buying groceries from hopefully local people. Do your best to understand where your money's being used and how it's being used and how it's most affecting the neighborhood you live in. And I'm going to tell you, if you're doing it locally and independently in those local businesses, you're supporting people that are from here, live here, and are supporting what we try to do to better our community as a whole. And we get to sell it. We get to sell plants. We get to sell food. We get to sell roses. People say all the time, oh, it must be great. It's cool. It's a great piece of it. But the bigger part of the business part is much more than just the plant part.
I have nothing. I was spacing out.
Yeah.
I got something.
Go.
You not only sell plants, but you sell garden decorations.
Oh, the
pots and
decor.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's wonderful stuff.
The other thing that Bob said earlier, he had Bacchus come out and do some tree trimming because insurance companies are doing cancellations of properties that are not properly maintaining their trees. So if that tree branch is touching the roof of your house and you have damage done, insurance company may say, nah.
And they're using drones to find this out.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a little scary.
Yep.
Yeah. There's the music. As always, Jennifer and Richard, appreciating all that you do for us. Let us do for you what we can. Thanks for allowing us into your home, being part of our day. Please come be part of our business. Come see us. Jennifer and I will be at the nursery within half an hour or so. Again, thanks for being part of our day, allowing us to be part of yours. Until next time, Jennifer and Richard from Jericho Nursery, we're out.